spiritual. I'm highly 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 spiritual.
Yeah, sorry if you hate it. Some people don't like it. Peace and love, friends and family. Welcome back to another episode of the Highly Emotional Podcast. I have a special guest today. This has been a long time coming. My special guest for the podcast today is Raury.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy Raury, the Druid Hill Dragon, the Stone Mountain Stoner, the Stone Mountain Stallion, the boy, also known as Yoda, also known as Big Soda. Never sniffed no Coca-Cola. It's your boy. What's good? I'm glad to be here. And you're right, it has been a long time coming. We've been trying to get this thing together since like 3 weeks or every day we were supposed to do it, it snowed in Atlanta. And that's just been nuts because it's not even common. You know, snow ain't that common here. And when's the last time it snowed here?
Yeah, facts. It's never, even like growing up, I don't ever think I remember it snowing the way that it snowed at the consistent rate. And I thought it, like, when you text me, I was like, it's not gonna stick, bro. You're good, bro. Like, just come over. That bitch was damn near a blizzard. I was like, what the hell?
I would have been sleeping over. That's what.
Yeah, I was like, bro, it's there's no way this shit's gonna stick. We live in Georgia.
Yeah, there's no way it's about to snow 2 times within a month.
No, facts.
On 2 different days.
No, that was extremely strange. But like, I'm a big person. Like, I don't get offended off of certain things, and I realize that for me, like, part of learning how to surrender to life is about like letting things connect. And when people hear that, they're more like, oh, like, you know, it's a sign if it doesn't happen. Yeah, in a sense, but I'm still gonna try. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of those people where I'm like, oh, you know, the reason why it's not lining up is because it just shouldn't. It's one of those things where I'm like, nah, I put it out there. I put my hook out into the water and something's going to bite eventually. Like, just give it time. So I just realized it's all about divine timing, bro. So.
Yeah, I really want to like appreciate that you have that quality about yourself. Just, it is about just understanding, like, and no matter what happens, to not truly let it sway what it is that you're trying to do. That's one thing, like, I feel like it would have been a good topic to talk about is like divine timing. You know, when I was like out in the woods and just like traveling, you know, in my Jeep doing the shows after I left the industry and whatnot, one thing I did learn is that there's your plan and there's God's plan all the time. And you got to be okay with the pivots. You know, you got to be able to roll with like the punches life throws at you, you know, and to be in surrender to and constant like awareness of like the change of key, you know, like you planned on doing something, but you know, like the highway's on fire, maybe it's not time to drive your car through the fire right now. You know, just wait. Sometimes divine time is about patience. Sometimes it's also about the instant moment too. You know, I feel like but it's just a ebb and flow. It's an ebb and flow of patience and decisiveness. And I really want to instill that into the listeners. Like, yo, like, no matter what's happening in life, be fixated on what like your hearts and your soul's desires are, like stars in the sky. To be fixated like the stars, no matter what point, it's always exactly where it's supposed to be. But if you're gonna be like leaves in the wind, whenever the wind blows, you're gonna fall off the tree, you're gonna go that way, you're gonna go this way, because like life is a bit chaotic, unpredictable. And this one quote I heard, like, yo, if you wanna hear God laugh, tell God your plans.
That's bars. I think that's kind of how my life used to be, is that I had certain expectations in my mind that I thought like in my reality was going to play this way. Like, bro, I've been doing music for 15 years. I've written songs for rappers and help people build their careers for them to go on to like these big stages. And I used to have this mind state of like, why not me? Why ain't on Jimmy Kimmel? Why ain't, why this person run off with my song? Like, I used to have that why me mentality. And for the longest, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm not good enough. In my brain, I'm like, okay, I have this plan that I'm supposed to be on a big stage and I'm supposed to be this celebrity. But then one day it settled in for me and I realized that it's not to say that it's not going to happen, but it's not the way that I expected in my mind. Bro, I've done so many things in the last like 5 years of just like allowing myself to just be who I'm supposed to be, like just being a creative and not just limiting myself to just being a rapper or being an artist or being a singer. Like, I'm just a creative. And that's kind of how I got to like this state of being like this podcast host, bro. Like, I never thought that people would take an interest of the traumatic experiences that I had dealt with in my life. But then somebody had told me and was like, yo, bro, just start speaking. And then from there, it just start aligning me with the right people that have something to say. Like I said, bro, we've met so many times, but I think this is the first time that we actually like sat down and have a conversation. I met you years ago in Virginia. I met you at like a few places in Atlanta. I even came to your house and we spoke briefly, but this is our first time like where we sat down and talked. Like, I always knew like the energy that you had, I was attracted to it. And I don't know, like, you get what I'm saying? It's like positive energy. Yeah, like it's positive energy. So it's like, okay, why does this guy keep popping up in my reality? I done met all these other rappers, famous people, so on and so forth. But when somebody pops up in my reality at a consistent rate, then I start saying, okay, what is the purpose? Why do I keep running into this person? Why do I keep seeing this person? When is it going to happen? Why? Like, what is the plan? And so I realized that I had to wait for this conversation to happen. And I think that from the time that I met you to now, I think that I had to be prepared to have a conversation on this level, bro. When I met you the first time, I was on some drinking lean, trap nigga shit. And then now I'm on my woke shit, but not even like on some extreme wokeism. Most people look at that wokeism and they're like, bro, you got to be vegan, brother, and you got to wear white every day. And not to say like those things aren't true, but the most powerful thing in the universe is you. So if you're not aligned with that and you're forcing it, then you're just pretending, or you're in the state of trying. Does that make sense? So I just had to surrender and allow this to happen organically. So we here now for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's the art of cool, is just not forcing anything, and also just like being cool with what like, happens in life, and being cool with who you are and where you're at, and not GMOing the process. So many farmers and growers want the fruit, want the product so soon that they spray their shit, they can put chemicals in it because they want it now. But think of how many other analogies or metaphors or situations in our life that mimic us GMOing our process, GMOing, our careers or our relationships,
Our bodies, yeah.
our bodies, or our paths in lives, because we have an expectation on what we want it to be versus what it's meant to be. And the truth is, you don't know till you find out, And yeah, that's crazy, man. I wish I could remember those times like in the past. But, we ran into like a lot of people with that phase of my life. And we saying something about the what is the word? I don't it is about being authentic and being in a balance. He was talking about like where you were when we first met and where you are now. I also feel like at some point, like you can be too hot and you can be too cold. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be too unconscious, and I feel like you can be too overly conscious.
Well, I believe those are like extremisms. That kind of been like
extremism is just unhealthy.
That's kind of where I've been at, like on my spiritual journey. Is like when
you're in a balanced place.
Yeah, I'm more like I'm like, bro, I don't need to be vegan all the time. You know what I'm saying? I don't like. At that point, I'm trying to stop myself from being authentically me. And that's not how I want to live my life. Like, I don't want to live my life trying to be something that I'm not, but also remain that discipline so that if I set like a standard for myself, if I say I'm going to do something, I want to do it. Like right now, I'm fasting for 10 days until my birthday on the 6th. And
what are the terms of the fast?
Just water.
Nothing else?
Water. Like the thing about it is like I don't want to think about it and plan it. I'm not doing it to change my life. I'm doing it because at the state of fasting, I realize that I have a higher level of consciousness than when I'm just following the way that the wind blows me. Because it's okay to follow that the way that the wind blows you sometimes. Sometimes it's okay to, be in the state of the matrix instead of always being outside, because when you're outside, it feels like it's harder to connect to people because then you become detached. So
the outside don't love you either. It's just sometimes just as dangerous as the system, man. That's also another real thing, yeah, man, like being outside of like the train tracks of reality. Like there is a reality. It's like, people, for example, I don't like the concept of money, or just like the fact that we have to go to the grocery store and pay at the grocery store to live. How do we get the money? Either having a job or doing this, that, or the third. I wish that, there was another system in place where people didn't have to suffer through such a thing. And I wish I could just be like, fuck it, and like just find a way to thrive. But it's like being born in the middle of the ocean. Like you still gotta swim. You still gotta swim. You can't just be like, fuck water. But you're born in the ocean, and you're born in the middle of the ocean. If you want to get to land, you gotta learn how to work with the water.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's about balance. It's about balance, man. It's about balance.
That's actually a good analogy. When you were saying it, I was like, I am swim. No, but that's my ego.
Yeah, you go by Tuesday or swim. Which one?
Whatever. You enjoy.
Speak about the divine time. It's a Tuesday that we ended up doing this.
Yo, it's crazy. I was born on a Tuesday. This is why I'm Tuesday night. So I was born on a Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. February 6th. I'm an Aquarius. Tuesday night swim. It's all in that aspect. But you're right. It's about balance. It's about not being an extreme. And I think that when we talk about consciousness, it's about being aware when you're being extreme. When I'm neglecting my family or neglecting my responsibilities and I'm meditating too much and I'm too disconnected, I have to find a place in that momentum and say, okay, let me get back to my family. Let me get back to this. And then if let's say I'm overeating, I go on this, I start eating unhealthy, eating my kids' snacks and shit like that. At some point I gotta say, yo, bro, you doing the most. But that's the thing. It's like being aware. I think that when people have the idea of spirituality, it's always these skepticisms or whatever that people like. It's a box that people put on you. Like if I tell people like, yeah, bro, I'm spiritual. I don't really bang with the religious gang banging. Like I'm not really into that. People instantly be like, so like, what are you saying? You meditate all day? Or I say like, yo, bro, I astral project from time to time. Then people be like, oh, so if I write a letter and put it in a room, you can read it. It's like, bro, like I cannot explain to you my version of spirituality based upon my experience, because if you didn't experience it, chances are you're gonna think that it's fake. Meditation saved my life, bro. Like it saved me from being or falling into that concept of like pretending that I'm this. Like, bro, we're from Georgia, bro. I'm from all over Georgia, bro. You from the east side, so on and so forth. But we know that where we come from, that sometimes everybody wants you to be into like, oh, bro, you gotta be this. This is a real nigga. This is a street nigga, bro.
Yeah.
I played basketball and played Yu-Gi-Oh! In the morning when I went to Towers, I would play Yu-Gi-Oh! With all the nerds, and then I'd be on the basketball team with all the cool niggas. And for me, I never thought it was weak to play Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or to be a nerd and be smart. I never thought that.
Yeah, shout out to the Bulbasaur.
On God.
I rock with this Bulbasaur.
Thanks.
But I want to backtrack some. We talking about like the whole religious gangbanger, or just like one's relationship with God. I feel like as of the past 2 weeks, I've talked with two friends who are like newly converted back into Christianity, and I found that really interesting. So I had conversations with them that were really interesting, and what I believe is that, you know, like God is just, it's your way of how you connect to God, you know, whatever vehicle or modality it is that you're using. If you believe it, then that's all that matters. If you wholeheartedly like believe that, you know, like that's all that matters. It works, you know? So it's also just coming back to that aspect of like, all right, like
Turn the mic for me, because you gotta be like this.
this way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Where was I? Like, coming down to like the belief in what you believe in and how you create your reality around what you believe. I believe that's in my own belief, in my spiritual practice. That's where God is. God is in your belief. You know, it's in your heart. It's in your mind. It's in your habits. It's in the reality you create for yourself. You know.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Like I said, you are the most powerful thing in the universe. So whatever you give your belief to is where you give your power. That's where your power goes. It's kind of what they say, where energy goes, energy flows, or something along those lines.
Yeah, I remember one time I was talking this week, and I was like, man, like I was feeling like, yo, man, stuff is like tricky with money, and then I immediately stopped myself and like, you know, I have a great relationship with money right now. You know what? Actually, I'm balling. You know, like
it's that mind
you know?
state. Yeah,
I'm noticing that I don't know, like when I'm talking, if it's coming through or if it's highlighted on your song. Let me see.
Yeah, that one's mine. Nah, you're good. Yours is the bottom one.
Okay, I didn't make sure it's coming through. Make sure I'm doing this right.
You good.
You know, cool. Boom bap, brrrr. Yeah, man, but that's what I've been into, man. I remember like back in high school, like I was also about that shit, bro. I was like, I feel like I was the dopest nerd in the fucking school. You know what I'm saying? I started the music club at Tucker, you know, and like I created a whole different pocket of cool kids within the school that didn't play no sports, wasn't on any of that. You know, we put on the high school talent show. I think I got Travis Porter to come out there. Like it was dope, man. I had shit popping, man. Travis. Yeah, bro. Travis Porter. Shout out Travis Porter. Y'all fire. Those are them days, man.
Black boy, white boy.
Yeah. It's about balance.
Yeah.
That shit was spiritual.
That shit was fire.
That shit was spiritual.
That was good time. But that's the thing, is like when you look at the trendsetters of like the city, a lot of times people are different, bro. That's what I liked about you. Like I said, I clicked on your project just because I like the album cover. I'm a music head, so when I dive into music, I kind of like binge somebody's project. The first day I downloaded your project, and I don't even want to make this on some like fandom ass shit, but it was just different. Like I was like, yo, the shit that this nigga's talking about, respectfully, it reminds me of Andre 3K, but as somebody younger. I was like, this is crazy. I never heard nobody drop no shit like this in so long since that the day in the life of Andre 3K or whatever that shit is called, like where the nigga was like, I met macaroni niggas, like so I was like, yeah, there you go. I was like, he's beyond what everybody else is talking about, but it was so different that it just gravitated to me in a sense of like, whenever I got into my like depressive state, where I would listen to music that I felt like was relatable, was somewhere along the lines of like Kid Cudi's Wizard, Yo Project, freaking 808 and Heartbreaks. It was something completely left.
My favorite Kanye.
That's my number one Kanye album. Yeah,
that's my favorite Kanye album. Yeah, you know, I picked up music and really started going hard at it because I really saw. There's like you speaking like, you know, like the boxes that they put you into, because you from the east side, you got to be like this is what a real nigga is, this is that, bong, 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 right? Because you're an athlete, you got to do this because, you know what I'm saying? Like the preconceived notions of all these identities. Music was, I witnessed that music was a bit of a thing that people lived through. People emulate the music that they listen to. They gravitate to it. That this is what they're putting their attention on. It's the lifestyle or the bundle of thoughts that they admire or at least want to be closer to, whether they admit it or not. And if not, it's just repetition. Your mind hears something over and over and over. You start to subconsciously like take that on, you know. And I knew it because I saw it happening to my friends. You know what I'm saying? And I saw it happening to myself, like the music that I was listening to. You know, be it Man on the Moon, or be like Corinne Bailey Rae, or like Sade, or, you know, even Michael Jackson, or what have you. You know, it was a thing that really made me realize, you know, music changed my life. So I want to pick up my spear in the spiritual battle of songs and sounds, because it was a spiritual battle, like in the realm of spirit. I'm thinking about like creativity or like thoughts or ideas or whatever you would call media, things that influence the mind and the spirit. Media does that. If you watch a movie, you get inspired in spirit. Like the etymology of inspired means to be, you know, have your spirit moved by something. You know, and I knew that music was that, and I decided when I was 14, man, I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. I don't care what it's gonna be, or how, but I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna be homeless, and that's it. And I want to fight the good fight, and I want to be on the right side of the battle, but also to a degree that made me a bit extreme, to the point where, you know what I'm saying, like, I don't know, like maybe people view me a bit extreme to the point where they feel like, you know, like I'm not one of them, or like I'm not a young nigga from Stone Mountain at the same time. You know what I'm saying? From the east side, like I don't like the whole God complex and all that. Like I never really wanted that for myself, like from my fans, because that's also like a bit OD. You know, I also wanted to be human, so I also take the steps these days to like really like humanize myself. You know what I'm saying? Like just keep it a buck and not have people thinking that I walk around believing I'm holier than thou. Yeah. You know, that's one thing that I also sometimes battle against as a sound healer or a sonic warrior or a spiritual artist or a conscious artist, is the assumption that niggas think I won't like get in their ass, or that I don't get down. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Or some like shit, I'm like, not. Yeah, like it's crazy, but it's all about balance.
No, that's true. Like that was kind of one of the things with me too, is that based upon my image on how I look, bro. Like I say it all the time, bro. Like niggas question me if I'm black, but I'm black. You know what I'm saying? And then to the world, I'm a nigga. No matter how many times whether I cut my hair, grow my hair, had face tattoos, didn't have face tattoos, to the world, I'm still looked at as a nigga. Like I can't go over here to these people, even though I'm biracial, and say, hey, I'm one of you. And then the black people, they like, nah, like my whole life, it was always like, I'm a white boy, but then I'm not only just light skinned, I'm in a like weird shit like Pokemon and video games like my entire life, and now this shit is cool. You know what I'm saying? And
anime's on top.
That's
on
facts.
top.
Like that shit is A1.
I love
like
it.
It's dope to see it, but I remember that when I started doing
You
this
had to
shit,
keep that on the low.
yeah, niggas thought it wasn't cool, and I'm like, bro, I got my first pistol when I was 14 years old. I had stole it out of somebody's house, but I was still playing Pokemon and fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! I still play Pokemon now. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing. People feel like because you adopt these things that you like, that you learn about yourself, that you like, that you're not authentic to the culture. And that was kind of my thing is like, I'm like, and we talked about this briefly, like, I don't like the term when we identify as black. The reason why is because the attitude and the perspective and the box that they put you in when you say that you're black, you're supposed to be a thug and you're supposed to dress this way and you have to act this way. So when people ask me now, because I say nigga, people be like, oh, what are you? And I'm like, I know what you're asking me because I'm so used to this question, but my response is, I'm God. And not the fact is like, I'm your God, I'm your creator, but I am one with my creator. God is at the forefront of my life. So therefore, I don't need to apply or fit in the constructs of you saying I'm black. I know I am one of you. I represent you. Anytime I sit here and I tell people and I show people that even based upon my appearance that I am a divine intellectual being, that you cannot put me or niggify me, I still identify with you. But as soon as I sit here and say like, bro, that black shit, we got to stop doing it because the world, anything black, my walls, anything that we talk about black is always put in this construct of negativity. So when Kanye was like, I'm God, I just told you who I was, I already knew what he meant. But when people hear this terminology, they're easily offended because they feel like, oh, you're trying to separate yourself. You're saying that you're too good for, you know, black people and this, and that. And I think that's bullshit. It's like, no, bro, I realize that the things that we're doing in the black community is sabotaging us.
You know about like the definition of black, like in Black's Law Dictionary?
What is it?
I believe it actually means to be pale. Or some wild shit like that. Like, and we're talking like, in the dictionary of law and what there's what it culturally means to be black, and then there's also what it, in the eyes of the system or this matrix that we're in, and how it's kind of used as a misnomer to keep us a bit separate or alienated from who we truly are. I'm gonna digress a bit and reference Kendrick Lamar, one of the blackest artists out here. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
On what was it, Pimp a Butterfly? But he was like, he said, I ain't black no more. That word is only a color. It ain't facts no more. And I feel like the world didn't respond to that enough. Like, do you even remember that line? It's a crazy ass line. It's a crazy line.
I remember Kendrick, it. Yeah, a little bit.
You know, like
yeah.
he's really like, or really goes hard for like his people. But he himself said that I'm not black no more. That word is only a color. It ain't facts no more. Like, sometimes it's a confusing topic and it's a sensitive one to really talk about with the people, because it's like the teddy bear. It kind of hurts to, you know, realize we got to go to our actual nationality or our actual place of origin and really find out where we come from and who we are as, you know, so-called black people. But it's also half true in the sense of like, it was once a really and still is in its own way a beautiful thing that unifies us and gives us something to hold on to. I remember when James Brown, I think he was one person that when they started transitioning from being called like African American, it was James Brown that was really going hard, stamping like, yeah, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud.
Thanks.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like the water, it's just like the money, it's just like the things that we know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but we got to move through it, and some of it there are parts of it that are a bit confusing, hurtful, and misleading, but there are also parts of, identification and like self-awareness that are useful. So I guess I don't really stand on either side of the fence about it. I just, I do work on doing the work and like studying folks such as like the Duke of Tears. You seem like a person that might be like tapped into getting outside of the matrix and getting your own identity nationalized.
Yeah, no, that's
not
me.
being
That's me.
dead in the eyes of the law.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah,
not being
facts.
civil mortis or something.
I just
like
don't
that.
want. When I think about that shit, that's the only thing is like when I think about all these things, all these like avenues, right?
Mhm.
I just think about them as extremism, bro. That's like that. I just look at that like soon as I join any of this, I'm joining a gang, and I feel like I have to be authentically me because the moment I like somebody says, "Oh yeah, you should be this," and then I'm like, "Wait, I fuck with some of the shit that y'all have going on, but everything." It's like it's not it for me. Like, bro, I go to so many like different woke events, right? And what I'm saying, woke spiritual events, and then somebody will get up there and they'll do everything black or Muslim or everything Christian, like everything also always has like a foundation to the belief. And then when I'm there with my biracial children, my biracial family, even though I know, like I'm one, like I understand all the messages, at some point this eluding feeling comes over and it's like me and my family, we shouldn't be there. Like, does that make sense? It's like, and that's kind of the reason why I wanted to do this whole podcast thing, because I believe that everybody has a piece of God.
Yeah.
And that we can all come together no matter what your nationality is, no matter what your background is.
Yeah, I feel
and
like
can find
supremacy
it.
in any way, shape, or form coming from whoever is evil in its own at its core, to believe that one group of people have more access to God than the other is wicked. Is wicked. It's just part of the same thoughts that that are about what's going on in with Palestine right now. Just those beliefs are just wish it didn't exist. But I feel you as a person that also has has biracial kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
has a mixed family. I feel you. I know exactly what you mean.
That's one of the things that like I have to think about, and like I have to maintain my spiritual essence in the sense of overstanding and understanding that when the world perceives me or my family, or even with you, like if I'm around like trap niggas, they might be like, this nigga don't make music for niggas, right? And that's the thing is like I have to be aware that these situations exist, but at the same time, like in that sense, when I hear somebody make a statement like that over your music that I enjoy, I sit here and say, then maybe we don't want to make music for niggas. Maybe you have to take off the like the mask that you're wearing of representing this negative connotation of your culture and realize that something that is super spiritual or whatever they want to put you in a box
Is also a part of you.
is also a part of our culture, because like that's the thing, like I'm a studier, so now I'll go study like this stuff about the Aboriginal, study about Christopher Columbus and the concept of him being black and all these other theories. Like I'll look into them and I'll see how it could be true. So when I'm aware of these things, then I'll sit here and say, okay, I don't want to be overly extreme based upon this concept or these things or this beliefs or this like society that people try to put me in a box. But back to what we was talking about is like another thing is like when I think about my children, I think about what I represent. Do I want my kids to continue to fall into what was presented at the time when we were children? I was pretending to be something that I'm not when I'm truly like a nerd. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what I am in comparison to, like, you, bro. From me perceiving you, bro, it seems like you've authentically always been this. And that's the thing, is like, do I want my kids to be how I was, trying to conform to what society says a real nigga is or a real man is? Or do I want my kids to be authentically themselves and never have to explain that they're black or they're white or Peruvian or any of these things, but just to allow them to be authentically them? So sometimes I'm like, my mom is black. So therefore, like, my mom, she'll try to say certain things like, yeah, we're black, this, and that. But then I'm like, some things I don't want my kids to pick up, because my kids don't look at it as like, oh, this person's white, this person's black and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what my question is now is like, how long have you been authentically like this version of yourself?
I think I started really thinking about who I was around the age of 9 and who I want to be for the rest of my life around the age of 9. Up until then, I could say I was like highly influenced by everything going on around me as I was figuring things out. I was born in 96, so maybe that was like 2004 when I was like 8, 2005. I would probably follow after what's been influencing my big brother, who was 10 years older than me, who was, like really, bumping, like, he bumped a lot of, like, the T.I. was popping off, Jeezy was really popping off, but he was also bumping Red Hot Chili Peppers and, like, Linkin Park and all this other shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, I feel like, at a certain point as kids in my neighborhood, we, like, fucking listening to Tupac and all the other shit. We formed a little neighborhood gang. We go to the skating rinks and get into fights and do all the rah-rah, like, and then after a while, like, I think it was really the Cuddy Man on the Moon album that inspired me in certain just like films and conversations with my older brother, who was 10 years older than me, seeing his experiences from being, heavily like influenced by maybe like the darker sides of just like street culture, just seeing like, all right, well, that's not what's up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? And just realizing, like, and being younger, being the youngest and having older cousins, I was often told to not be a follower. Just like, don't be a follower, and I just observed. I just observed what was going on around me, and I saw the kids around me that were being followers. And one thing I always knew that I wanted to do was be in tune with myself and what I truly desire and what I'm truly into, and to never be ashamed of that. And, also still want to be one of the dopest niggas on the planet at the same time. And there's a way to do that. And I guess Michael Jackson played a big part in that. Michael Jackson was the dopest nigga.
Yo, Michael is that. That's that guy, bro. That's facts though. So then when did like everything become like so spiritual to you? Like consciousness being like your thing?
Well,
like,
I think my entry point into consciousness was being a 6-year-old kid that knew how to do backflips. I was doing backflips. I was doing flips with kids in my neighborhood, and I ended up, like, my elementary school, the gym teacher, she get together all the kids that could flip. And I made these 2 friends. They were both brothers. It was Charles and it was Elijah. And they came from a household where their mother was just like very spiritual and into meditation and all that. So they were also kids who could do we were doing gymnastics and like tumbling, at the elementary school. At the end of the year, they do field day. Field day, you do the backflips, do a routine, and then all the kids will let you cut them in line and give them their ice cream because you did all the cool flips. Oh yeah, I was a celebrity from off the backflips, bro.
Yo, do that flip.
Yeah, and it was popping. Had all the little girlfriends. But so just hanging out with them from a very young age, like I'm talking about, like we're talking like 6 years old, like on up. Like their mom was like vegetarian, and I was hearing about how like there's mercury in the tuna, like really early. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh man, what what is Mercury? I didn't even know what Mercury was. But like, yeah, I just there was that, and then came the anime, and then came Naruto, and then came chakras, and then came the whole aspect of energy and elements, and also your Nindo, bro, your ninja way, bro.
It sounded like you wanted to be an anime character, like from the backflips into
in my own way, bro. I am the main character in my life. You know what I'm saying? And we talk about like how like media is like programming, man. I feel like in certain anime, there's a lot of real deal gems, man. There's a lot of real deal medicine in these programs, and I was getting updates from these programs, you know. Especially with Naruto, man. It was man, Naruto, bro. He was really on his shit, man. He was like, yo, like what he believes in, what he stands for, or even like Goku. Goku's one of the strongest motherfuckers ever, but he wasn't no asshole.
Yo, my concept on Goku and Jesus is crazy. That's all I'm saying. They're very
Tell me
similar.
about it.
All right, so first of all, let me make this statement. You ever watch Yu Yu Hakusho?
Yeah,
I'm Yusuke. Like that's
Yusuke.
me. I'm Yusuke. I never wanted to be a hero. I'm really a demon, but yet I'm an anti-hero at that point. So my theory on the whole Goku thing is the nigga came from a whole different place, came to Earth, became like the protector of Earth, and he does everything pretty much out of love, for the love of it. And that kind of like, it reminds me of like in a similar story of like the story of Jesus, or even the story of like Superman, to the point where like when we break down like the philosophies of certain religious beliefs, I realize that life is about being a hero and doing it for like the truth of love. Like bro, like even being a father, bro, you have to be Goku in a sense of like, you have to be loving and, you know, fun and this and that. And if you're too aggressive, then your kids kind of like become afraid of you in a sense.
And afraid of the world.
Yeah. And that was kind of my thing, is like, the more that I look into all the characters and heroes, it all reminds me of like the story of Jesus, of just the fact that you have to do things in your life with love being at the forefront. And for me, like that term love is the same concept of God. And when I fall into that space of like something that doesn't feel like love, that's kind of like, that's how I know where I'm going the wrong way. So the moment that something is not a characteristic of me saying, all right, I'm doing this out of love, I right then in the perspective of some people like the devil, but I'll sit there and be like, okay, this is not God, like, or this is not right, in a sense. Like, I know that it's time for me to come back to my conscious thought process and say, am I doing this out of love, or am I doing this in the sense of whatever low vibrational,
like surfacing the ego, yeah.
So that's my theory. But I feel that when you look at all the stories, all the anime characters, bro, it's I can't think at the top of my head, but there's characters. Okay, let's say you seen Death Note.
Yeah.
So Death Note, right? L is he did it to be a hero. Right? He
loved this shit.
He wanted to be a hero.
He was as good at what he did because he just really loved it. He loved what he did.
But in the end, he became the villain. So that's the thing. Is like,
you talking about Light?
Oh, my fault. Light. It's been a minute.
No.
So Light. Yeah. But that's the thing. All right. So Light, if you really look at it, he started the journey of getting rid of all the murderers. That was out of protection. That was like, I'm going to do this to be the good guy. But ultimately, he became the villain. And that's kind of how a lot of things are.
Sometimes when I go back and watch that shit, have you ever went back and watched it?
I just watched it maybe like 2-3 years ago.
If you go,
I got to watch it again.
That was your first time watching it?
No, I've seen it like 5 times.
Sometimes when I would go rewatch it, I was like, oh, bro was tweaking off jump. He was tweaking off jump. He was kind of wild. But he was young. He was very smart, but had the wrong ideals as far as, like the
Sometimes I want to be that way too, though.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, no.
Sometimes it's like
some people ask me who's my favorite character. I was like, honestly, Light's my favorite. I know everybody likes L.
I like L just because he was
Light,
weird,
man,
but
I feel him. I feel him.
sometimes you got to be that villain too, though.
But that's literally what he said. He's like, man, I think he was like, I'll be the bad guy, bro. I'll sacrifice whatever I got to sacrifice to purge the world, and that was just not cool.
It was dope though. That shit was fire, bro.
Yeah, bro. I wonder what happened if he never crashed out. If he didn't just, I don't know. He just shouldn't have ran up on L like that off day one. He shouldn't have just. He should have just laid.
He got
low.
greedy. He should have
just laid low. He got caught up in the game.
But L finessed him for sure, based upon like figuring out like where he was at. Oh, you're in Japan. Yeah, facts. So that's the thing is like. Being conscious, being woke or whatever is like learning that at times I have to be the villain and at times I have to be the hero. Like sometimes even being a dad in my children's eyes, sometimes I'm the villain because I have to say no or I have to protect them. And
discipline.
That's what sucks, bro. Like I'm a big child, bro. Like I play video games, I hang out with you.
Yo, bro. I honestly, my kids are. They're already like they're gonna get to play so much video games with me. I'm already putting them on the Sonic and all that stuff, bro. Like honestly, like I get it. I turned out fine. I navigated life as a gamer, having fun with games. I don't think I'm ever gonna be that parent that be like, oh, what are you doing? You're on the game. Like, nah, I might just go. I might get on the game with them and pack them up. And you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is that they're doing, I'm looking forward to seeing my two boys like just like grow up and their brains develop and they figure out life. But yeah, what were you saying? I was saying,
I ain't gonna lie. I play video games with my kids all the time. What
do you play?
We play Fortnite.
Fortnite?
Like the
How
whole
old are they?
squad.
How they playing Fortnite?
5 and
How they all play Fortnite already?
My son is like that. My daughter, she started on a Switch
way.
and she was getting like 10 kills a match. Like
Ain't no
at
way.
4. This is when she was 4, bro.
It's playing bots, bro. Y'all playing bots.
It don't. Imagine getting killed by a 4-year-old. But that's the thing is like maintaining being that fun parent, but also like being disciplined. So like on Sundays we do like Sunday ceremonies where we have a room upstairs. It's like a meditation room, but I don't want to be like forceful, like, yo, you need to meditate or hey, you can't eat this. I'm more one of those people is like, I like to teach my kids like, yo, this got color in it. Or hey, watch how you act after you eat this candy. And then I'll show my son, like, I'll give him something and be like, Dad, can I get some candy? I'll give him some candy. But then I'll tell him before he eat it, I'm like, you know you're going to act crazy. And then later on, he got this color going. And then I'll just pull up on him. I'll be like, yo, you realize you've been acting crazy, right? And then he'll be like, yeah, but I'm like, that's what it does. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things is like, I try to discipline, but I never want to be your villain. I just want to be the person who teaches you. Yeah, like, no, I'm not here to boss you around. I'm just here to protect you.
I was talking with a mentor of mine. He was talking about how he was having a debate with his homie about how parents like don't like own their children.
That's facts.
In a sense. And then he was like, yeah, man. So arguing with my homie, and I went back and I prayed to God. I was like, like, how can I prove to him like my point? And then he said that the spirit with him told him, go back and tell that nigga I said, pair rents. A pair rent. Like they rent. It's a rental. Like for some time you are the voice of reason and you can make decisions on their behalf, but you don't own them. You can help them. You can guide them. But just like a rental at the end of the day, like it's not your property, So parents.
No, that's facts. I definitely like to give my kids their freedom to learn who they are. Like my son, he don't play video games just to get the dub. He plays it to test the limits of the game. My daughter, she's more like creative, so she does makeup from time to time and sings around the day.
I was saying, you gotta give them the tools, because one thing I realized even with it is that Forrest will get bored of it. He'll get bored of a game. He's like, all right, I'm done. I want to do something else. And And I think that that's dope. You know, like sometimes all he wants to do is math equations already. You know, sometimes, you know, like all he wants to do is like color and draw and like run and get exercise and do whatever he's going to do. So, yeah, it's once again, it comes back to divine time. It comes back to balance. It comes back to not forcing any process or not forcing your perceived expectation upon anyone or thing or situation for that matter, you know?
Yeah, just be there in a sense to like
be there and
them.
don't mind what happens and watch and help with what you can. But also understand that there's a power at work that's beyond your hands and it's God. And you know, you have a good relationship with the now. You know, don't make it your enemy because it's not going according to your script.
That's facts. That's part of surrender. Let me ask you a question. When you were signed to, I don't know if you're still signed to a major label, but when you first started out, did you like, was there a sense of like, did it make you frustrated, or like, was there some things like you just didn't agree with? Because I got to a point where QC was offering me like $50K to sign, and it seemed like niggas wanted to own my soul. Like, either like to shelf me and take my songs and give them to whatever artist they want in a sense, or it was just always weird conversations. And I was like, bro, like, here I am with this great talent, but yet I feel like if I take this deal, or if I've had different little deals with different indie labels, but it was always feeling like I'm going against myself. So like, did that ever make you depressed? Like, that shit made me depressed when DJ Drama ran off with my money that I paid for a mixtape, and then a few months later, Tyler the Creator is dropping a fucking mixtape of Gangsta Grills, and I'm like, wait, nobody else is doing Gangsta Grills. Like, it made me so depressed because every time that I would get in these situations in the industry or meet somebody that I'm a fan of, thinking that they can do something for me, it would make me depressed when everything came to the forefront. And I realized that a lot of these people are just slaves. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're just yes men to a bigger corporation. So like, did you ever like deal with like the artist, you know, like depression side of things?
At a certain point, I dealt with people indirectly trying to engineer my personality and my authenticity and my music, in the sense of trying to, like, I guess, like, withhold budgets, acting as if they don't like understand what I'm doing, but it's really just because like this other artist is coming out and they got this sound, and that they see this other artist and they want me to compete with this artist by trying to sound like this artist, or trying to, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like, it got to a point where I was like, you know what, like, y'all got it. Y'all can have this, you know, y'all can have this standing on the couch club hoopla. Like, I'm not trying to be a part of that. That whole rodeo, you know what I'm saying? Like, I came out, you know, I kicked the doors open off of God's Whisper, Cigarette Song, Indigo Child, talking about music, about the spirit. So like, why would I do anything different at this point? Because you know, like, because Lil Uzi's here, because Travis Scott's here and they're doing what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to trying to follow suit with what they're doing. Like, I got here off of being me, you know? So when I just felt as if there was a game being played, like, with my career, if I didn't do what they wanted to like hear me do, I just thank God I put things into the agreement where I could walk. So I walked. I was like, you know what? Nah. I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to be on that side of the battle of information, where I'm misleading people. You know what I'm saying? Or encouraging their darker natures, you know?
Yeah, you don't want to be used as a tool for
the status quo. The status quo of, you know, just creating more damage and like lost youth. I know a big part of that is some people say you want to be like relatable, you want to relate to people and what they're going through, and that's cool. I feel that, and I'm real about like what I'm going through. If it's like depression or if it's like a breakup or whatever, there's also nothing wrong with being real and telling your story. So like, you know what I'm saying? If you grew up in the bottom and that's where you came out of, I don't condemn that. Like, express yourself, and tell your story and be real with it. But as long as it's authentic to you, and yeah, they just wanted me to make trap music, and I was just like, that's not how I got here.
That shit would be fire though. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. I got some Jones. Throw a verse on them Jones. It'd be crazy. But anyways, no. But that's the thing. So how do you maintain now in the path that you are and not get sidetracked to be like, man, I can take this and I could go do mainstream with it or do this and become this. Like, how do you still remain at the level that you are now and still like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not be emotionally involved, because even now, sometimes I look at some shit and I'll be like, nigga, I got songs like that from like 10 years ago, but it's niggas is doing it now. And then sometimes that thought back in my head goes, why not me? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But then, the light version of me is like I said, surrender. Yeah. I'm already on my journey.
I think that's it, is that I do my best to remind myself that no matter what happens, I should not mind. I should not let the voice in my head, the voice of fear or the voice of comparison, like drive the ship, like, so I turn towards gratitude. I'm grateful that I can make a living doing my art. I'm grateful that there are people that still listen to me, that still check for me, that still support me. I'm grateful that I'm alive and I'm healthy and I got a lot more life to live, a lot more music to make. I'm grateful that I did the time to learn how to record myself, to learn how to play my instruments and produce and write. So as long as I'm alive and breathing, I feel like I always have a shot at the throne, and I am just grateful. I'm working on Indigo Child 2 right now, and I'm as long as I'm alive and breathing, bro, I got a shot at the throne, bro. And that's what I'm looking at. And I also stay in tune with the concept of divine timing. It doesn't happen according to my plan, It's not going to happen according to my plan. But one thing I won't do and won't ever do is lose the belief in myself or lose the conviction or the certainty that I feel in my heart whenever I make a wish at 11:11, or whenever I see a shooting star. I always wish for the same thing. Whenever I pray at night before I go to sleep, I know that I'm locked in on my journey as a sound healer, as a warrior of spirit, music being my weapon, and I give thanks to God for putting that purpose in my heart so early, and I understand that it was going to be a tumultuous path with a lot of challenges, and it's going to be I feel like I'm living the greatest story ever told, and that's just what I remember. I just turn to gratitude whenever all this stuff is going on around me, and I feel like I should be a part of it. I feel like, some of it is as a result of inspiration from my existence, and people are, maybe the industry wants to box me out because they know that my success might mean the rearrangement of their whole gravy train. Like, I don't know. Yeah. But that doesn't matter. All I gotta do is stay alive, stay out of jail, and keep breathing, keep putting out music, and be grateful that I can feed my family and myself off of my music and put out more. And what I've been doing now as of lately is really just putting myself out there and not fearing rejection and not fearing anything a big part of it, especially being an artist and being a public person, is that I realized that I have to allow myself, I have to be comfortable with allowing myself to be seen, to come here and sit in front of this camera and allow myself to be seen, to be loved or rejected by whoever's seeing me.
So in a sense, the
To be comfortable
feeling
with
of
being seen.
or being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's, bruh.
Like I feel like I think that kind of helped my music like transcend to a new level too. Is like I got to the point where I was like, first I started off on like some backpack like Drake type shit, then I got into some Future shit, and now like I'm on this whole like spiritual Kanye mixed with Future type shit, and I realized that I can wear the avatar of my choosing. Like so even though I might think that it's imperfect, I can make it seem like it's intentional, like it's perfect. Like if let's say if like I'm doing a song and like one of the bars don't rhyme, but I like the run. At that point, I can take that run that may be an imperfection of me because I was just playing around, and I can make it seem like it's intentional.
The same thing with how Hendrix played the guitar. Some people go and they learn his songs, but they don't know that they're also learning his mistakes in there. Like some of those takes that have hella mistakes, and they think that it's just his style, but it's like, hey, he just messed up and he slid the guitar to the right note, and it sounded like a pitch bending, but he was just rocking. So you just gotta rock out.
No, that's
You gotta rock out. You gotta rock out. You gotta be fine with the mistakes, the setbacks, and also don't cling too heavy to the successful moments, because the higher the highs, the lower the lows. Just try to be even keeled about all the things happening, and just have gratitude about what's taking place when it's bad, when it's good. Remain in a state of gratitude, because motherfuckers are in the Congo and in Palestine and other places in the world going through it. We're in this country, the wealthiest percentage of people in, like, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I also come down to that, man. Whenever I want to complain about something, or I want to trip about something and feel like my life is so hard or my life is so stressful, I remember the times where I was out there in the woods, or when I wasn't a roof over my head and I was just moving, and like how valuable it was to just get some fucking blueberries and eat for the fucking day. Like life, I think that it would be cool if some people, or a lot of people, or everyone got to experience being homeless for like 2 months. I think the world would be a better place if everybody got to be homeless for 2 months at one point in their life. Early in their life, they'll know what really matters and what doesn't really matter, you know? And they'll know how to roll with the punches of life and be grateful and aware of how good things are for them, even when there ain't six figures in your account, or when everything's not going your way.
I think I can agree on that, because I think that some of the most valuable things that I learned is when I was on my homeless shit. But I never like slept in the woods on no shit like that. But for me, it was more about sleeping in my car and wherever I can find a place to crash for the night. That was my thing. But what that taught me is that even in my worst times, I can find the light. Like my daughter didn't even know I was homeless at that time. She thought, we just having fun. And now I'm 30. I'm about to be 35. And so no matter what my low times are in life, I realize that everything comes to an end, right? Like it's death. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, it's like even when I have these bumps in the road, when I'm like, yo, why the fuck did this happen to me? Why am I going through this? When I step back, I realize, okay, this is just something small, and something bigger or something more high vibrational is gonna come my way, and I'm gonna forget about this shit. I'm gonna forget about this low time, and it's not gonna exist. Like that's the thing. So I will agree that learning from that struggle, learning from, not having anything and then having something teaches you like the survival skills, teaches you the value of life. Like I can be happy. I tell my wife all the time, like I can be happy if we lose it all. Like if everything burns up, long as it's me and you, I feel like we're good. So at that point, I don't really need nothing no more. As long as I got myself, my family, my spirit, and God's at the forefront of my life, I feel like everything's gonna be okay. But yeah, I feel like people definitely can benefit from being homeless or also like just understanding your struggle. Find the lesson in your dark times in life and learn the lesson, and then you can apply it to your life for self-growth, for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll shade to that, man.
But yeah, bro, I know that I gotta get you up out of here soon, type shit.
That's all good, man.
I really appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate you sharing your insight. You definitely dropped some gems. Two
man.
things that I always.
I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
What's up with you and Bulbasaur? I know you have a Bulbasaur hand tattoo too.
So what's crazy
What's
is
your connection to Bulbasaur?
all right. So you ready?
Yeah.
So my starter Pokemon is always gonna be my favorite is Squirtle, right?
All right.
But when you play the game, you realize that how you gonna run through the game the fastest is actually through Bulbasaur, because Bulbasaur has Absorb. Brock is weak to him. Then you could beat
that fire type,
the water type, and you could beat the electric gym. That's what I realized. So like Bulbasaur for me was always the cheat code on to get the furthest in the gym instead of having to battle up until like level 10 and then you get past.
You gotta go grind.
Yeah, like nah. So yeah, Bulbasaur for sure.
Man, you know what Pokemon taught me a lot about? I don't know what it is, but it's like resource allocation, or just like I don't know. I think maybe a bit about business. A bit. I don't know what it is, but when you have all those different Pokemon and all those different types, and you gotta like account for like what works against what, and you gotta see how much potions you got. You gotta see how many Pokeballs you got. You know what I'm saying? It teaches you about grinding. It teaches you about like resource allocation.
No, I think that's facts though. That's definitely bars for sure, because every gym that you encounter, you have to figure out how you're going to beat this gym. That's why I said the first like 3, maybe 4 gyms, you're good with Bulbasaur, but then Squirtle, if you
get to that electric, it's GG's.
Yeah, even when you play Misty, when you fight Misty, because it's water versus water, like nah. Or Charmander. Charmander's like the hardest grind because
you gotta go up against everybody off rip.
Yeah,
Rock, and then fire. Yeah, it's gonna be buns.
It's crazy. So yeah, that's why I got Bulbasaur tatted. To beat the game, all you gotta do is just get a Bulbasaur. But like now when I play the games now, I just get a Meryl. Like I do, I think it's called like Wonder Trade or something like that. I'll trade the starters.
What Pokemon game are you playing right now?
The last one I played was, it's been a minute. I think it's X and Y. Switch? It was X and Y, yeah.
Oh, isn't there like the one with those little motorcycle type Pokemon or some shit?
Yeah, I played that one too. That was trash.
Oh yeah,
it's trash. I don't like all the extra shit. I like the regular. That's why I said at the beginning of the game, I'll trade away like the starter Pokemon and I'll get Meryl, which is, I don't know if you know what Meryl is.
Yeah, it evolves to Azumarill.
Yeah, so I'll get Meryl and I'll beat the game with a Meryl. Like I'm probably the only person that probably got like a level 120 Meryl. No,
you can go past 100.
Yeah, bro.
That's cap. What game?
Yeah, bro. I promise you, it's like yes, bro.
No.
Yes, bro.
No.
There's ways, bro. Bro, you never played the emulators on computer or like on a desktop?
You ever play Pokemon Crater?
I don't know.
You're not a real one.
I don't know. You gotta give me hoop.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. No, it's gone now. That shit dead and gone. We'll go to YouTube and look up Pokemon Crater. It was crazy. It was like Twitter, but it was actual open world Pokemon. You can run into other motherfuckers like on the game. Like it was nuts. Imagine that.
I don't think that shit. They need to make something like that now, bro.
If something like that exists now, I might have to get back into it. But it's.
I give the games like the new games like a spin. I'll try them. They're cool from time to time, but I just feel like I feel like all video games now are just trying to keep up with the trends. It's kind of like the music industry.
They try to keep up with Fortnite.
Yeah, everything is like Fortnite based. You drop it, then they give you a season pass, and
you pay more money.
It's trash, bro. Yeah, it's trash for sure. But that's what I was gonna say. Before we end, I asked people for two things: a book reference and then a powerful quote that people can apply to their life. Drop a gem. There's some Naruto shit right here. He going through his library.
Well, my favorite book that I always recommend for people because it changed my life constantly. I do my best to go back to it still to this day. Is Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth. Teaches you a lot about the ego, a lot about the internal voice, and how to navigate the madness that we all face as a collective. It's a really amazing book. I love it. Quote. I done dropped so many, and when I'm asked to give one, I'm drawing a blank. Let's see. I'll pick off of something that I wrote recently. So it's a line that I really like, but I'm gonna remix it so it applies in a more broader space. You can paint the whole town red or the whole sky blue. The power is up to you and what you believe you can do. Boom, boom,
Bars. And that camera just dropped.
Hey, yo, this is Raury on a highly emotional podcast. If you like this video, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and share. Share with the whole world. It's up. Till next time.